What's going on, guys? It's our team here, and today we're going to be talking about CISCO IOS and some comments of Cisco CLI. So let's begin. First, what is Cisco? Cisco is the world's leading networking devices manufacturing company. It produces such networking devices as routers and switch that we are well aware of. And as we know, in order for a hardware to work properly, there has to be a software installed in it. And for the networking devices, Cisco engineers came up with their own operating system with their own software, which is called Cisco IOS, which stands for Cisco Internet Networking Operating System. So how can we manipulate with the Cisco IOS? In order to do so, we have to deal with something called Cisco CLI, which is a command line interface. We can get access to CLI either directly by using wine console port of our device, or remotely by using the SSH or Telnet. So now that we have talked about the theoretical part, let's talk about the practical part as well. Let's open our router and try to do something. Okay. So there are four modes in Cisco CLI that we need to be aware of. The mode we're currently in is called user execution mode. In order to take a look at what comments it provides us with, we're going to use a helper, a question wildmark, which will show all the comments of this mode. As you can see, this comment is pretty primitive. It doesn't provide us with a lot of opportunities. We can disable the connection, we can exit, we can ping, we can create SSH telnet sessions and trace route. It's a kind of analog of, simple CMD command prompt, That's why we need something more. So we'll need to the next mode, which is the privilege execution mode by writing enable keyword. In this mode, we have much more opportunities to work with. For instance, we have clock time that we can work with when working with NTP protocol, for instance. Configure to move to the next mode. We'll talk about it. We can copy different files, or for instance, running configuration into startup configuration from RAM to NVRAM. We can delete a file or erase fully the configuration of a file. Yeah, we can also create a directory for the files. And as you can see, there is also one important command, which is show. So basically, there are different variants of this command. For instance, show running configuration, show IP interfaces, and show IP route. And we can also use brief for them to show the brief information. So, and as we can see, this mode also includes all the opportunities of the user execution mode. That's why, of course, it's much preferable to use this privilege execution mode. But nevertheless, it's still not enough. If we want to configure something, we have to move to the next mode by using this keyword. This mode is called global configuration mode. So here, let's dive into the practical part. So let's take a look at our simple network topology. Here we have one router, two switch, two network devices, and here are these are our subnetted networks. So let's try to configure the interfaces of our router. So the left-hand interface, in order to do so, we're going to write interface keyword gigabit Ethernet 000, which is this port number. And actually, by doing so, we're moving to something called the last mode, which is interface mode, configuration mode, because we are working with a particular interface. So let's try to give an IP address to it, which is going to be the first usable IP address and the corresponding subnet mask. We're going to activate it by writing no shutdown. Nice. Now we can exit. Let's configure the right end interface, which is going to be interface gigabit Ethernet 001. And the IP address is going to be the first usable for this network, which is going to be this one, and the same corresponding subnet mask like before. Let's activate it as well. Nice. So let's check it. As we can see, we successfully activated both of them. Okay, what else? So we can also assign a host name to our device. We can rename it as needed, for instance, like this. And also, we can assign some passwords. We can add some security. For instance, if we want to add a password for the privileged mode, enable mode, we're going to write enable secret. What is the difference between password and secret? The secret is always encrypted. That's why it's much preferable and strongly recommended to use secrets when you can. So it's going to be mail. And let's also configure passwords for our lines. For instance, line console 0. We're going to push a password. It's going to be the same password. We're going to write login to save it. And for virtual lines, for remote connection telnet SSH, we're going to put the same password, which is going to be from 0, which is going to be mail. We're going to save it and exit. Nice. Also, we can create different banners to be displayed at the beginning when we boot our device. We can do that by writing banner. For instance, mounted a banner using the delimiter, whatever you want, authorized access only. Okay, let's save it. We can save the running configuration into startup configuration by writing copy running config startup config, or by using right keyword. But as we know, these comments are the comments of the privileged execution mode, but we are currently in the global. So we can either move to the previous one, or there is a special keyword do, which enables us to write comments of different modes without entering them from one mode to another. So do right. Yes, we have saved it. So then let's talk about the SSH as well. Let's try to configure a SSH connection. So first, we're going to give a domain name, which is going to be, for instance, this one. Why not? Then we have to create a crypto key for our SSH connection, generate RSA. And the site it's always preferable to give at least 1024. Now we're going to create a username entry for our users. So for instance, it's going to be admin privilege 15. It basically means that once the user enters, it will automatically be directed to the privilege execution mode. And we're going to put a secret, which is going to be this one. Nice. Now we have to enter our lines that we're going to virtual line that we're going to be working with. We have to save these guys by writing login local, and we also have to write transport input SSH to ask our router to work only with SSH. And now we can exit. And we can also specify the version of SSH, for instance, 2. Let's save everything once again. Okay. Finally, let's give our end devices some IP addresses. So IP configuration, we're going to do it statically for although of course it's much preferable to be using DHCP dynamic configuration for end devices, but it's a different topic to discuss. It's 02 and 010 we're going to get for this one. IP subnet mask, and the default gateway is our router's interface, which is going to be 9. We're not going to be touching DNS. Okay, so yeah, now let's test our connection. For instance, let's try to ping. At first, we'll try to ping PC2 from PC1. The IP address of PC2 is 0.10. So the first packets of echo, they're always timed out because of IRP and MAC table processes. But if we write it once again, it should be fine. Yes, as we can see, everything is working. Now let's try to SSH our router. SSH -L. The username that we gave is admin, and the IP address of our router is 1. The password that we gave for this mode is for SSH is mail. And this is our banner. This is our banner, you see. So, and because the privilege level was 15, we are already here in the privilege execution mode. We have passed the user execution mode. And now we can actually do whatever we want to. We can configure our device remotely. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. In order to create the 7-stage connection for switch, and for switch, we need to use something called VLANs. But the whole process is actually pretty much the same, but still it's a different topic to discuss. So that's actually all for today. I think it's enough for the introductory part. And today we have discussed what Cisco is, what CISCO IOS is, and what Cisco CLI is, what they are used for. And we have also talked about 4 different modes in Cisco CLI. Those are the user execution mode, the most primitive one. In order to move to the next mode, which is privileged, we are using enable keyword, which provides us with so many more opportunities compared to the previous, but it's still not enough for configuring. And we have also talked about the third one, which is the global configuration mode. And in order to move it, we are writing configure terminal, and the interface configuration mode, we are writing interface keyword, as we did when configuring these interfaces. Yes, then we configured both of the interfaces of the router. We established the SSH connection, security measures, primitive security measures, and also created a banner to be displayed. We tested our network by pinging it and also by creating a remote SSH connection. So I think it's enough for today for the introductory part. But by the way, one more thing is just show command. It's important. For instance, show running configuration. By running this command, we can basically see everything. The whole configuration is here. It's IP SSH, domain, whatever we are configured is here. It's a very useful command to be aware of. And there are many more configuration types of it, but we'll talk about it in our upcoming videos. So yeah, that's all for today. I think it's enough for the introductory part. And I'm looking forward to sharing the next videos of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for your attention and take care.